Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurhanis Nafisa binti Nur Hashiman, metric number 2317856. Today, I will be talking about the book Muslim Women Activists in North America, Speaking for Ourselves by Katherine Bullock. This book provides a critical insight into the experiences and activism movement of Muslim women in North America. The author centers the voice of these women, emphasizing their agency, challenges, and contributions to social and political discourse. I will focus on the first 9 chapters of the book, offering an overview of each while highlighting key points and main issues that reflect the diverse perspective within Muslim women activism. In Chapter 1, Introduction, the context of Muslim women's activism in North America, Katherine Bullock sets the stage by discussing the social and political context in which Muslim women in North America are navigating their activism. She emphasized the intersection of gender, religion, and ethnicity that Muslim women experience. Katherine Bullock points out that Muslim women activism is often overshadowed by stereotypes and misrepresentation in the media. This chapter introduced the concept that Muslim women are not passive victims but active participants in shaping their communities, both within Muslim space and in the broader public sphere. Next, in Chapter 2, Islamic Feminism and the Muslim Women's Movement, Katherine Bullock dives into the concept of Islamic feminism, explaining how it differs from Western feminist movements. Islamic feminism, according to Katherine Bullock, is rooted in Islamic principles which aim to provide gender equality through an Islamic comprehensive framework. She argues that Muslim women activists often redefine feminism on their own terms, combining their faith with advocacy for women's rights. This chapter helps us understand that Islamic feminism is not a contradiction, but a way to reconcile religious belief with gender justice. In Chapter 3, the role of religion in Muslim women activism, delve deeper into the role of religion, particularly Islam, in shaping the activism of Muslim women in North America. Bullock highlights how these women often draw strength from their faith to challenge societal norms. Unlike some Western feminist discourse that view religion as oppressive to women, Muslim women activists in this book use their religious belief, Islam, as a platform for empowerment. Religion, therefore, becomes both a source of oppression and a tool for liberation in their activism. Moving on to the Chapter 4, the intersectionality of Muslim women experiences, we see an exploration of the intersectionality of Muslim women's identities. Katherine Bullock used Kimberly Crashaw's concept of intersectionality to explain how Muslim women's activism is shaped not only by their gender and religion but also by their race, class, and immigration status. She underscores that Muslim women in North America come from diverse backgrounds and face different challenges depending on these intersecting factors. The chapter highlights the need to approach Muslim women issues from a holistic perspective. In Chapter 5, the media and the image of Muslim women focuses on the media's portrayal of Muslim women. Katherine Bullock critiques how mainstream media often represents Muslim women as oppressed, submissive, and voiceless, particularly through the lens of the hijab. She emphasized that this portrayal fails to capture the complexities and diversities of Muslim women's life. Activists and scholars challenge these stereotypes by highlighting the agency, resilience, and diverse experience of Muslim women in North America. Bullock analysis shows how the media's narrative shapes public perception and influences policy decisions, often leading to a skewed understanding of Muslim women on the whole. In Chapter 6, Muslim Women Activism in Various Spheres, Katherine Bullock provides a closer look at the specific areas where Muslim women in North America are involved in activism movement. These include issues related to civil rights, education, healthcare, interfaith dialogue, and political representation. Katherine Bullock showcased the diverse platform that Muslim women use to make their voice heard, from grassroots organizing to online activism movement. This chapter helps us understand that Muslim women activism is multifaceted and plays a crucial role in various societal sectors in our society. In Chapter 7, Personal Narrative and Women's Stories is focusing on personal narrative from Muslim women activists. Katherine Bullock includes interviews with several women who share their stories of activism, faith, and identity. This narrative offers a humanizing element to the academic discourse, providing readers with a personal understanding of the challenges and triumphs these women face. Bullock argues that these personal stories are an important key to understand the larger movement of Muslim women's activism in North America, as they give voice to lived experiences. In Chapter 8, Mobilizing the Community, Challenges and Opportunities, Katherine Bullock explores the challenges and opportunities Muslim women face in mobilizing their communities. She addressed both external challenges, such as Islamophobia and discrimination, and internal challenges like navigating patriarchal structures within Muslim communities. Despite these challenges, Katherine Bullock highlights that Muslim women are finding innovative ways to organize and advocate for change. She also emphasized the importance of solidarity and collective action in the fight for social justice. Lastly, in Chapter 9, Muslim Women and Political Activism, Katherine Bullock discussed the increasing involvement of Muslim women in political activism. She traced the historical context of Muslim women's participation in political movement, highlighting the growth of Muslim women's political visibility and leadership in North America. From local activism to national campaigns, Muslim women are using their voice to challenge policies that affect their communities. This chapter shows how Muslim women political engagement is transforming the political landscape in North America. In conclusion, Katherine Bullock's Muslim Women Activists in North America is an important contribution to understand the role of Muslim women in activism movement. Through the first 9 chapters, we see how these women challenge stereotypes, fight for social justice, and create meaningful change in their communities. Katherine Bullock's work reminds us that Muslim women are not defined solely by their religion or gender, but are dynamic agents of change who actively shape the world around them. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nitshara Saleh, matric number 2019312. Today I will present the book Muslim Women Activists in North America Speaking for Ourselves, written by Katherine Bullock. Before I delve into the detail of this book, let me present briefly about the author of this book. Katherine Bullock is a lecturer in Islamic politics in the Department of Political Science, University of Toronto at Mississauga. She contributes with many works that are associated with Muslims, such as being a TV host for Sound Vision Foundation's Muslim News in Canada, and she is also the president of Compass Books, dedicated to publishing top quality books and about Islam and Muslim in English. As far as I have observed, her research mainly focus on Muslim in Canada, their history, contemporary life experience, political and civics engagement, debates on the well, media representation of Islam and Muslims, and Muslim perspective on zakat and basic income. Now I will present her first book that I mentioned just now. Which is Muslim Women Activists in North America Speaking for Ourselves. This book consists of 18 chapters that share about 18 Muslim women activists. So the first 8 chapters presented by Hanis, and my part will present the last 8 chapters, which are from chapter 10 to chapter 18. For the core and theme of my chosen book, the book centers on giving Muslim women in North America their own voice to share their experience in activism, spirituality, identity, and community buildings. These are real stories told by the women themselves, not filtered through the lens of outsiders or stereotypes. They explore what it means to live and as Muslim women committed to Islam, while actively engaged in social justice, education, feminism, human rights, and da'wah, all from a faith-based perspective. Now let's move on to chapter 10, which is building a community for the next generation by activist Olivia Monem. She is a Canadian Muslim and passionate to study education, to be a public school teacher. She works for communities such as the author of a teacher's manual about Islam, Muslim Ladies Committee chairperson, the principal of the local weekend Islamic school. Also, she is invited by many public schools and a few churches to talk about Islam. She teach a weekend Islamic school, and this school become one of her favorite place, and she tried to help children to link between public school and Islamic school, in order to help children to utilize an Islamic perspective. In this weekend Islamic school, she conduct activities for children to enjoy, such as Islamic fair activity, where each student was asked to make a display about any prophet. This activity can instill a Muslim student to enjoy with Islamic teaching. She is the woman who start halaqah women in masjid and conduct many activities in masjid to unite Muslim society and strengthen the relationship among Muslims. She truly sacrificed herself to improve Muslim society in Blackburgs in North America, and her sacrifice are worth because the community become more better, such as there is an increasing number of students in weekend Islamic school with almost 40 students, and she provides textbook and school desk for the student and classroom, and also organize activities for students such as Quran memorization competition and eat presentation for students to enjoy with it. And this during this activity, this hard work reward with positive results, since it can unite Muslim society in one place, and she built all these things for future Muslim generation in Blackbird America. Next, talk about pursuit of peace and justice shared by activist Nadira Mustafa. Nadira emphasized on peace and justice since she graduated Islamic studies degree in Islamic law, and she said one of the big problem in Islamic world today is the lack of Muslim women assisting in the implementation of the Sharia. She said that Muslims are being destroyed in all parts of of life, such as Afghanistan, India, Iraq, Kashmir, Palestine, and the Philippines. For this reason, she continues to assist with Ummah relief with initiatives such as CMP on a national level. Moreover, she participates in various activities for the Muslim community on local levels, such as writing, editing, and publishing thought-provoking truths and realities. For example, co-editing the Unveiling of the Real Terrorist Mind by Nadia Batul, and participating in the July 2003 anti-war demonstration in Winnipeg, Manitoba, as one of the spokespeople to publicize the unjust war waged by the United States on March 30, 2003 against Iraq. Next, talk about a passion for justice shared by activist Samada Rukaibah Ahmadul Nur. She is an active member of the Young Black Leadership Caucus. Her activism has been transformed to motivating and teaching our youth to respect themselves, improving their communities, and creating products to uplift humanity, and espousing the need to have unified families. Activism become part of her personal. She has a strong sense of responsibility to make the world a better place for all humanity. Her work with the civil rights movement in 1970 instilled her belief that her work is not just for African American, but for all people, especially the youth who are the future leader. She said, "I'm a woman of character. I will continue to work to create a society that is just a world that knows peace and where people are respectful for each other. I will do little by little and by day. Activism is my mission. It is my life. Allah has chosen this part for me, and given thanks to Allah for sending angels to help me through the trying times." It can be seen that she truly pay attention on activists. Next, talk about Mona Rahman, that she shared that activism is part of her life. She is one of the member at Queen University Muslim Student Association, or in the short form is GUMSA, and takes many roles as an activist. There are many misconceptions regarding the women in Islam, their rights, their duties, and indeed even their position among non-Muslim and even among Muslims themselves. This is why it seems that throughout the years, no matter what forum, she always comes back to discuss the right for women in Islam. As high school student, she tried to dispel the myth and educate classes. When she was a university student, every year she would invite someone to speak on this topic. Also, it's always deal with the various Islamic conferences she attends in North America. She strongly believes that as Muslim women, our hijab is like a flag for Islam. So being active in the community in whatever aspect, people are always questioning about Muslim women stereotypes. For example, people ask her whether women were allowed to have an education in Islam. This question makes Western culture confused as how Muslim women practicing wearing hijab like this activist Mona Rahman doing PhD. So she find hijab in herself. It also open door for da'wah, as it immediately identifies you as a Muslim woman. Next, talk about life of a Muslim woman as activist. That shared by Margaret Sabir Gillett. In this chapter, Margaret shared about her life experience as a Muslim woman as an activist in 2003. She had an opportunity to participate many times as the only Muslim woman and the only African American Muslim woman, and in many activities that she got involved in. Imam W. Din Muhammad teach her that this is a wonderful time to be Muslim, and that Amira is good for America is good for us. There is an increasing demand for Muslim men and as well as Muslim women to be involved in uplifting for community and trying to make our community to be a better place to live in for all mankind. She believed that one of the best ways we can promote our religion is to live our lives as righteous Muslim by sincerely practicing what our Prophet Muhammad said, wanting for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves. Chapter 15 talk about a mother and educator shared by an interesting activist, which is Frida Sharma. This chapter is so interesting because it is related to the beginning of IUM, which is our university. She focused on Islamic education, and righteous is her favorite topic for discussion after she converted to Islam. She attempted to be active in the field of Islamic education and agreed to be the chairwoman of the MSA education committee. The word education caught her attention, and her husband supported her and took responsibility to take care of her children, while she did her duty as Muslim activist. During the IMSS meeting, she was the only woman and the only one who wanted to discuss element and secondary education, while everyone else was focused on the idea of establishing Islamic university. During this meeting, when she voiced her opinion that our focus really should be on the education of younger students, the chairman of the meeting, the late Dr. Islamic Al-Faruqi, as we know that Al-Faruqi is the father of IUM. During that time, he responded to Frida, this Muslim activist. She replies that that's fine. You are in the charge for establishing Islamic element public school, and we will focus on the university. Well, they did focus on the International Islamic University in Malaysia and Pakistan. Are direct result of the focus, and up until today, these two international universities exist, which mainly happen from the attention of Frida. Okay, in Islamic perspective, volunteerism is a vital for Muslim community. It is an undeniable fact that Islam would not be where it is today without the effort of Muslim volunteers. Muslims in the early days of Islam worked together to achieve a successful community. It is clear from the foregoing that firstly, Islam is a religion that cares for the welfare of all humans and calls its members to participate in volunteer activities without awaiting any reward from others, but only from Allah. And secondly, seeking Allah's pleasure should be the primary motive for volunteering to help others. Helping others is just the means to attaining Allah's pleasure. The end of all action carried out by Muslims. They work to preserve Islamic values in a non-Islamic environment, planting seeds for the Ummah to grow strong in the future. In conclusion, these women carry the spirit of Islam in every action, proving that faith can be a source of strength, not limitation. May Allah reward them and all Muslim women who strive for truth, justice, and the betterment for society. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The main theme of the book is the hijab is not a symbol of oppression, but instead a personal, spiritual, and enduring choice that must be understood through Muslim women's own voices and Islamic perspective. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Siti Nur Adlina binti Muhammad Fauzi, number 2312886. So today, I am presenting to you the book titled Rethinking Muslim and the Veil by Katherine Bullock. So this book expresses the meaning of hijab and challenges the common stereotypes that Muslim women are oppressed because they wear it. So a short introduction to Katherine Bullock. Who is Katherine Bullock? So Katherine Bullock is a Canadian academic who converted to Islam during her PhD studies. So when she began wearing the hijab, so she noticed people treated her differently. So especially as a feminist. So this inspired her to study how hijab is viewed in the West and how Muslim women experience it. And then she also writes in her books in page 150. She says that the popular Western notion that the veil is a symbol of Muslim women's oppression is constructed image that does not represent the experience of all those who wear it. So the book has two main goals. The first one is to challenge Western and feminist views that claim hijab is oppressive. And then the second one is to present the real voices of Muslim women who wear hijab and explain what they do. So Bullock use history, interviews, and Islamic values to shape her arguments in this book. Okay, so first of all, we go through this chapter 1, hijab in the colonial era. This chapter explains how colonial powers used the hijab to portray Muslim society as backward. So unveiling women are presented to a sign of progress, but it was really a way to justify domination. So on page 26, Bullock says that the meaning of hijab for modernizing elites become associated with backwardness, something to be removed in the name of progress. So even some Muslim leaders accepted this view under pressure from colonizers. Okay, now we move on to the chapter 2 that subtitled Voices of Muslim in Toronto. So in this chapter, Bullock interviews Muslim women in Toronto. So their story shows that hijab is often a personal, spiritual and powerful choice. So one woman said that people think I'm oppressed, and then one woman said, I wear hijab to please Allah. It reminds me who I am and I feel safe and strong in it. In page 74. So based on these two, even though they face stares and judgment, they view hijab as a source of dignity and something to protect them. We move on to the third chapter titled Multiple Meanings of Hijab. So this chapter explores the variety of meanings hijab holds for different women. So on page 88, Bullock lists reason for wearing hijab. So the reason Bullock's wearing hijab is, the first one is to obedience to God. Second one is modesty and dignity. The third one is Islamic identity. And then the last one is resistant to Western beauty standards. So on page 104, she states that hijab is often a strategy for dealing with the male gaze. So it helps women feel in control of how their bodies are seen. So this media, however, often reduce hijab to one meaning, that is oppression. And then now we move on to the chapter 4, titled Critique of Fatima Marnisi. So here, so here, Bullock critiques the feminist scholar Fatima Marnisi, Fatima Marnisi, who saw hijab as part of patriarchy, but Bullock argues that Marnisi ignores the voice of women who find hijab empowering. So on page 151, Bullock's right, Marnisi's interpretation ignores the lived realities of Muslim women who wear hijab voluntarily. So she urged feminists to listen, not assume. Okay, now we move on to the chapter 5, a new theory of the veil. So this chapter presents a fresh perspective. Hijab is not a symbol of oppression, but a symbol of liberation. So on page 186, so Bullock writes that hijab can be experienced as liberation from the tyranny of the beauty myth. So she explained that hijab helps women escape. So how we escape through hijab? So first one, the pressure to always look beautiful, and then objectification by men, and then the last one, consumerist fashion ideals. So on page 194, she writes that hijab can be a form of femininity, not its suppression. Okay, now we go through the last chapter, chapter 6, that is the conclusion. So, in the last chapter, Bullock repeats her main point that Islam does not oppress women, culture and misinterpretation do. So, on page 220, she writes that to assume that hijab always means oppression is to deny Muslim women the right to define their own experience. So she calls for an Islamic feminism that listens to Muslim women and respect their agency. Okay, so now for the final thought that I can relate to the main theme in this book I have mentioned before, the first part. So the hijab is not a symbol of oppression, but instead a personal, spiritual, and empowering choice that must be understood through Muslim women's own voices and Islam perspective. So what can I think about the final thought about this book? This book changed how I view the hijab. So I learned that hijab can be sign of strength, not weakness. And then Western feminism and media often misunderstood Muslim women. And then Islamic values offer women power, identity, and peace. So overall, Bullock reminds us to speak up for our choices, trust in our religion, and be proud of who we are. That's all from me.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hazwani binti Nur Hamid, metric number 2313214. And today I'm going to discuss what I got from Rethinking Muslim Women by Katherine Bullock. So what I'm going to discuss from this literature by Katherine Bullock is that in this book, Bullock highlights the struggle experienced by Muslim women who live in Western countries. This is happening due to the Western liberal feminists views veil as a symbol of an oppression, and the pop culture views that Islam is a religion that symbolizes veil as an oppression and make women subjugated by men and labeled as patriarchal religion. These views are spread widely by mass market and books, and particularly labeled as women and Islam books. The misconception of Islam that spread widely became cancer to the society, as it makes people from different religions views Islam negatively. Moreover, Western media keep manipulating and making Islam as an oppressive religion, while in reality it's the opposite. To add to that, Islam are always seen as backward, static, and monolithic by the liberals in Western. After the World War II, Westerners look at these regions change slightly, but the underlying idea of Western superiority remained. They thought in order to be modern and successful like them, other people need to adapt with how they live their lives and how they do their things and also their institutions. The Westerners assume that the only way to be successful is by following what they do and their ideology. So the Westerners thought by embracing their so-called ideas of modernity, Muslims should unveil, since they assume that religion are basically an obstacle, like stopping a person or a group of people from being successful and forward. Due to the misconception, it impacts Muslim women lives, such as mentioned in the book itself, like local customs, political, and economic forces. Moving on, Bullock also highlighted that at times these juries have gone too far when interpreting certain verses. This leads to the formulation of laws that are restrictive and discriminatory towards women. As an example, when the jury is interpreting verses from Quran, such as Surah An-Nisa, verse 34, where they debate regarding gender roles in Islam, that they frequently interpret the verse as often taken to proclaim general male guardianship over women. Author also highlighted that the restrictions that experienced by women are sometimes based on the community's way of being Muslim. It's like these happen due to lack of understanding. This could happen with lack of understanding on Quran and Sunnah, and also Jewish teachings. And furthermore, some women are revealed with this kind of idea, with this kind of stereotypes, that women belong to certain roles, this and that. Like as an example, that women are belong in the kitchen while men go to work. And this type of stereotypes, this type of gender roles are revealed since they were younger, and that they impose this type of idea, this type of tradition to on others. So from this discussion, what Islamic perspective that I can relate is that as women, we always have to seek knowledge, because living in this era is that a lot of people trying to manipulating women to believe certain ideas, this and that, as like the closest example from this book itself, that telling that women should unveil, that the Western feminist liberals telling women to unveil, while veiling is actually obligatory, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us. So by understanding what Allah tell us to do, by seeking knowledge, is the only way to save ourselves. And also, as a Muslim, seeking knowledge is always encouraged. It is also mentioned in the Quran. So as mentioned in Surah Al-Alaq verse number 1, it translates that read, O Prophet, in the name of your Lord who created. That in this verse, Allah told Prophet Muhammad to read in order to seek knowledge, so that by seeking knowledge we can practice our religion correctly with no doubt. So, and also by seeking knowledge, is that it will save ourselves from getting manipulated by the people who trying to getting benefits from us, and we're not going to fall in their ideas, in their false ideas. So the second Islamic perspective that I can relate is that I would say that veiling is indeed challenging. Veiling and covering aura is indeed challenging nowadays. And but we, as a Muslim, we have to believe in Allah promises, where He promised that He will give us rewards for obeying Him. And as Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Ahzab, the obligatory for Muslims to cover their aura. So by covering our aura, we are more confident, we could get closer to Allah, and we could discipline ourselves. And by obeying what Allah told us, what Allah commanded us, we could prove to the Westerners that being religious, being a Muslim, following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us, is not stopping us from being successful, and it's not backwards, and veiling itself is not an oppression. So in conclusion, we cannot let ourselves too consumed with Western ideologies and let them tell us what to do and what's right and what's wrong, because we already have Quran and Sunnah as our guidance. It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us, so that we have to use both Quran and Sunnah as a guidance in our life. And also the most important thing is that when we're veiling, when we're covering our aura, we have to be sincere. We have to do it because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for His blessings. So in order to follow, in order to practice our religion, it is important to have knowledge while practicing the religion, and so that we can practice our religion perfectly and correctly. And and also it is important to always have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we covering our aura and veiling, and because having a strong faith is indeed necessary in this era, because as era evolving, there are many challenges we are going to face, and challenging our own faith too. So we always have to be ready as a Muslim. So this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I really do hope that people get what I'm trying to convey in this video, and I really do hope that this video is useful. That's all. Thank you.